welcome once again to Makerspace Orientation, our virtual webinar. If you have any questions today, please use the chat box, and I'll be monitoring those questions and answering those as Carol Ann gives us a rundown of what's in the Makerspace and what all you can use. I do want to make some announcements before we get started. And first of all, I should introduce myself. I'm Missy Littell, and I am the Customer Experience Manager at the Cuyahoga Falls Library. I teach a lot of our tech and makerspace courses. It's a pretty awesome job. And then with me today is Caroline Ketch. She is the Guiding Ohio online tech assistant at our library. So she's here with us through a grant, and that was the survey that we were talking about sending out a little bit earlier. So she's going to be showing you around the Makerspace today, showing you how some of the equipment works, and then I will be giving you a rundown of the Cricut a little bit later on, and we'll kind of give you a virtual tour of the space, which is funny. We've been wanting to put something like this together anyway, and now suddenly we have a very strong reason and opportunity to do that. So this is a good test run of this today. A quick announcement about opening. Our library will be opening in phases, and we are planning to start phase 1 in the first week of June. And that will be curbside service a couple days a week. I'm sorry. I don't want to give any dates and times specifically because I want to make sure that we get that right. And I don't want to tell you something that turns out to be is not the right hours. So that information will be forthcoming. We'll be making some announcements online via newsletter and newspaper and all of that. We'll be getting that news out very soon, but we're very anxious to get back. We just want to make sure that we do it safely and we have the safety of our staff and community at the forefronts of our minds as we're rolling out that plan. So I don't know when the Makerspace will be open. I don't know what phase of our plan will include the opening of the Makerspace. It is currently not open to the public, but we do have some classes coming up this summer where we're introducing some of that equipment, letting people try some things out online. We're doing 3D print classes online. We have a family maker morning, which is a program that includes kits and a story, activities that you can do with your kids. So that's something new that we're trying that's kind of Makerspace based. Like I said, some 3D print options. We're doing loom knitting, where you take a kit home with a loom and yarn and you make something with us. We'll have a video that's included with that, and a Makerspace book club, just to name a few. So the June and July virtual programs are up now, so take a look at those. We're hoping to provide some interesting new tools for you to learn about, some new resources surrounding the Makerspace and technology, some new skills you can learn during the summer. So we will have some things going on, some virtual programming, curbside options, but we are not opening the space at this moment. But we're hoping to keep the excitement going, keep the momentum going around the Makerspace. We have a lot of interest with it. And this is a way we can still share about what's in that space, how you can use it. You guys can see some examples, and then what we can do virtually, we'll be doing virtually together. So I'm excited to give that a try this summer and have some good things coming your way. We are hoping to get a survey out to you via email afterwards. That really helps us out. Like I said, Carol Ann is with us through a Guiding Ohio online grant through the state library, and the more feedback we can get, the more helpful it is. Plus the fact that this is our first webinar offering this way. So whatever you can tell us feedback-wise, if you can fill out that survey for us afterwards, we would greatly appreciate that. So without further ado, I'm going to turn things over to Carol Ann. She's got a PowerPoint, going to show us around the space and some of the equipment in there, and then I'll be taking any questions that you have in the chat. It's all yours, Carol Ann.
Awesome. Thank you, Missy. All right. Okay, let me get over to screen share and get into there. Okay, so we have our lovely tour of the Makerspace. So these were photos that Missy had taken while in the library. And so we have a nice big open space. You can see there's lots of really great windows. So we get a ton of natural light. The ceilings are even higher where those beams are. We also have tables that have that long electrical strip. Here is all different outlets and stuff. So if you're working with hot glue guns or some other tools and equipment, or like your laptop to watch things while you're making stuff, you can use those. Our tables also are on wheels. So it's really nice and easy to kind of rearrange the space overall. So you'll often see changes as we're doing different programming and things like that. We also have this really great, big, lovely storage desk table kind of area. In the table, there's a bunch of tools and equipment. So we've got like paper cutters, we've got punches, we've got stamps, colored pencils, glue, like all kinds of good stuff. We also have our large cutting mat, so the self-healing mat. So if you're working with like a rotary cutter for like sewing fabric or things like that, we also have those in there. So that is an awesome feature. We're gonna kind of go around the room for some of the different things that we have. So this is our light box. So with our light box, there is a kind of a Velcro background that you can put up. And there's a couple of different backgrounds that you have. We've got red, blue, black, and white. And there's kind of a matte side and then a kind of a shiny side or a velvety side. We have like a little lint roller that you can use to kind of clean off the velvety side if you need to. But the light box also comes with these lights, and these sides, these white sides, those are actually light filters. So you put those the lights on the outside to shine in on the object on the inside, and it gives it a nice even lighting instead of harsh shadows. We also have this little container of light filters. So you can give the light kind of a blue tone or an orange tone, depending on what you're photographing. A lot of people will use it for like online photos or posting things to sell or any number of things. We've been using it a lot for our tutorials. So we also have a couple of different tripods that you can put your phone in. So you would just use your phone or whatever camera device that you have that you would use for this light box. So that's super handy. The next one kind of next to that is our PS4 station. So you can actually check out a controller or headphones to be able to play our PS4 games. We've got a handful of them. There's a lot of people that come in and play Minecraft. We've got Rocket League. Some of the newer ones we have are Spider-Man, and I think a couple of others that are pretty cool. So that's for the PS4. And then we also have these kind of rolling tables again. If you need to kind of spread out on a slightly larger project, you can move those around to where you're working. So the other big one is the green screen. So that's right next to it. The green screen is like a nice backdrop for doing any sort of green screen video or photographs. So you can change the background because it's that nice even color that's kind of an odd color. You're not going to see that in a lot of clothing. So we have on the side a sign that has different recommendations for apps that you can put on your iPad or your tablet or your phone, where it will automatically take the green screen and delete that and input either your video or a color image backdrop. And so you don't have to do it as editing. Some of those apps you can kind of take a regular video in front of the green screen and then transpose the image behind it afterwards. But some of the apps that we were promoting does it automatically. So it's a little easier to visualize what's happening. But there's nothing to turn on. It's all ready to use. You can use some of the lighting from the light box to change how the light and shadow works depending on what time of day you're in there. But that is ready to use. Next door to that, we have our Ellison Die Cut machine. So the Ellison Die Cut is, think of it kind of like a cookie cutter, but for paper. So at the top, there's these racks of different dies like our leaf and star and kind of the basic ones. And then below, we have a whole set of letters. So a lot of teachers will use it for like bulletin boards and things like that. Then we have a little kind of notebook catalog that has the whole list of other dies. We have a really awesome collection. We have them down in our storage area near children's. So you just would let the librarian that's in there know, hey, I would like to use like these 5 die, and then we would go and grab it for you. You can go ahead and use them, and then you can go on your way and we'll return them. So we just ask that you just let us know kind of upfront all the different ones you want to try so we can go down and up in one go. So the next thing is we have this really cool display case. And a lot of times for our different classes, if there's something that we're making, we will kind of showcase what you're going to be making or something similar. And then also the days and times, because like the classes are pretty spread out. So if you ever see that around, it's a good thing to kind of pay attention to see what's kind of up and coming. The next thing we have over here, we've got a couple of things. We've got our Laminator. So we offer lamination. We've got 2 different sizes of lamination, either the regular paper for 8.5 by 11 or the legal size where it's like twice that size. We sell the lamination sheets, the envelopes. I'm going to have a video a little later as to what that looks like when you're actually doing the laminating. We also have another laminator that's out on the main floor that if the Makerspace is ever closed, you can use that one as well. And then we also have our sewing machine. So we have 2 of these sewing machines because they were very popular. And this sewing machine is particularly awesome because it comes with all those different feet for like quilting, for buttons, for all kinds of stuff. And it also has what's called a variable speed control. So you can actually set it to be really, really slow. So if you're just starting out, no matter how hard you press the foot pedal, it'll only go that speed, which is really great if you're just starting out, because I know some of the older machines, it would just go and run away with you, and it can be kind of intimidating. But with this one, you can really set it to be a lot slower. You can also unplug the foot pedal, and that allows you to run it with the buttons that are on the front. So it's got some really cool features. So if you have small children that can't reach the pedal, or if you have people that don't have use or like can't feel their feet, then you can definitely use that feature. So it's a lot of really cool stuff with our machines. We have our mannequin over in the corner, and we also have our 2 little button makers. So we've got a larger button maker, so that's about 2¼ inches. The punches for it are 2½ because you have to give it space to wrap around the sides of the button. We have kind of the tips for how to put the dome in the button maker, because if it goes in upside down, it can actually get stuck. So we kind of give people a reminder there. And we also have a smaller button maker. So that one gives you a 1-inch button that's kind of a completed dimension. Again, you have to up it by like ½ inch. So it's like 1.5 inches, or no, 1¼ inch. I always forget if it's half or a quarter. So we've got those. We also have in our Makerspace our 3D printers. So our 3D printers aren't typically for patron usage in terms of you bring in a file and you have us print it. It's more for when we're doing design classes and we teach you how to do the modeling in our class, and then we print them in the space, the designs that you made in class, in the space, so that you can kind of see it printing and see how it works. A lot of people haven't seen them in action in person, so we wanted to like showcase, okay, here's this technology, here's it working, and it really can be very mesmerizing. So that is a fun thing to kind of check out when it's running. The next thing we have is our cabinet here. So with this cabinet, it is both for our programming. So everything from this lock here below, that is all for the staff to prepare different materials and supplies for our classes. So a lot of our classes offer the supplies included for whatever we're making, so that you don't have to worry about bringing things unless there's like something specific that we let you know. But everything from the lock up is all free and open to use. So there's tons of materials. We have a really gracious community of people that share like extras or like anything that's been not used, that's been cut around. So if you've got a Cricut project and you need just a little bit of a color, then it's a really great thing to kind of check out. So especially if you're just kind of testing some things out, it's also a great one for like interesting buttons with the button maker. And up above in the slots up here, we also offer the kind of older handouts from the classes. So if there's something that we had that has like a cheat sheet for how to use a certain software or a certain tool or a feature of something or instructions, if we have any extras, that's where we'll put them. So that's another good place to kind of check out for cool materials on your own. Next to that, we have our digital media station. So on this station, it has a scanner. We also have a WACOM tablet, which is a pressure sensitive pen. So you can actually draw in a more kind of natural way on the computer. So this computer is really special because it actually has the entire Adobe Creative Cloud. So Adobe Creative Cloud is your Photoshop, your InDesign, Illustrator, there's video editing software on here, there's audio editing software on here, there's all kinds of great stuff. So that is a kind of souped up powerful machine. So if you're really wanting to do some design work, that is the one to use. And we have the dual monitors, so if you're wanting to learn how to do certain things, like right now we have the subscription to lynda.com, which is turning over to LinkedIn Learning. You can have the tutorial on one screen and then the actual software that you're learning in the other. So that is also a very nice feature of this setup. Next to that, we have our Cricut Maker. So this is the newer version of Cricut. It can actually do the rotary cutters and some of the other tools. So right now we can check out the rotary wheel with this once we're actually open and available. So we've got that for our Cricut Maker. So that opens up a lot if you're doing different types of fabric. Is very handy for fabric in particular because we have the longer mats that help with that as well. Then we have our Cricut Explorer. So this is the slightly older model that does the drag knife over the mats. We also have the other pens and scorer tools and the different tools that you use to take the pieces off the mats. We also have the different stickiness type mats. So we've got like our standard, our stronghold, light, as well as the fabric to be able to use those. So those are all there and you can use them with either Cricut. Right next to that, we have this shelf, and this image is a little dark. Our shelf kind of has like examples of the different things that you can do with Cricut. So we've got an example of the heat transfer vinyl. So you can get special vinyl that you iron on to different fabrics. You can also put it onto like a permanent stick vinyl to go on things like mugs or other things like that. You can cut, we've done these wallets. So that's actually a faux leather that it's able to cut out. And Missy's gonna show some examples of some of the things we've done before with that. We also have like the different fabric, and you've got, of course, the paper and things that you can cut out with those. So if you're ever kind of wanting a tangible example of what the Cricut can do, that is where to look for that. So I was talking about how we have those different things to check out. So as our checkout, we have these cards that let you know that we've got the rotary cutter for the Cricut Maker. We've got a Cricut Easy Heat Press. So if you're doing that heat transfer vinyl and you need something to kind of attach it and you don't want to use your iron at home, or if you don't have an iron at home, you can check out the Cricut Heat Press. We also have our WACOM tablet. So that's that pen. And it's basically a pen alternative instead of using a mouse that you can use on the digital media computer. And we've got the headphones, the gaming headphones, and the PS4 controllers. So you would just kind of let us know that, hey, I want to check out one of these items, and you can use them in the room. I think the limit's like 2 hours typically is how that works. Any questions at this point? How are we doing? It was a lot. Are we doing good?
Yeah, no questions in the chat so far.
Okie doke. Okay, so that's kind of what's in the room and basically how those different pieces function. So I've got some nifty little videos that actually show them in action. So we can always go over this with you more later. We're hoping to have some of these resources available so you can kind of review them at your leisure. So this is how we use the Ellison Die Cut machine. So with the Ellison Die Cut, you want to put your paper down onto this little sliding platform, and then you have these dies. So Missy's holding a die right now, and there's little sponges that are hiding these blades. So it's kind of like a cookie cutter, and those are really sharp, so you don't want to squeeze down on it. And you see she's clamping that down underneath that little flat area, and she kind of shifted it around a little bit to kind of get it to press down evenly. And that cuts out your paper. So that is our Ellison Die Cut. And again, if you've got a bigger one, you just kind of shift it and kind of clamp it down progressively, a little bit by little bit. With our laminator, you want to make sure our temperature is 350. So you just turn, there's a switch on in the back. She's using the paper envelope and she's opening up the plastic envelope. Typically we would want to like fill up our plastic envelopes, and so that we kind of get the most out of our materials. The small ones, you can get 2 for $1, or one that's twice that size that are one of those for $1. And that's pretty much at cost. We wanted to make sure to offer those because people were bringing some of their own and they were really thin, and it actually wrapped around the roller of the machine. So you can see she fed it through right from the fold, and it just kind of takes it in through and takes it in slowly, and you bring it back out. If you find that it's kind of hazy like that, you can always run it through on its own. If you're bringing in your own, we definitely ask you to use those paper folders because that's what kind of keeps it rigid so it doesn't wrap around the roller. But if you've run it through, and it also helps to kind of like support and hold things so that it doesn't kind of flop around as it's being fed into the machine. So we've got that. The next one we have is our hole punch. So the circle punch is to work with our button makers. So we've got the 2 different size punches, and we actually kind of use it upside down. So you use it so that you see the back side of it. Typically you would have it on the desk, but because we really want to see where the design is, we kind of use it upside down and let it punch out the paper that way. And we've got the 2 sizes so that it fits just right for our buttons. So we've got those. So the large button maker, we've got this guy. So there's 3 different parts. There's this dome, and that's the one that I was saying before. So you see how there's that edge? You want to make sure you put that edge down so that it's kind of snug and resting in there nicely. Then you put your picture of whatever you're wanting to do. The top where that kind of metal line is, that's where the top of your image is going to be, like the top of your button. The other last pieces are Mylar. You want to make sure you only have 1 of those, because if it's like stuck together and you've got 2, it can really jam the machine. And that is your pin back. You want to make sure the squiggle side goes up, and there's actually a picture of it on the inside. Once you get that all in place, you squish it down, and you see how that bar hit all the way down on that metal plate. Yeah, let me back it up. So you'll, oh, popped out. Sure. Annotate. Here we go. So right here, you want to make sure it touches all the way down. And it wants to be like a complete, clean, smooth motion. Because if you kind of stop in between, then it can kind of mess up how it crimps around the outside. So with the button makers, we actually sell the big button maker parts because you have to match the pieces parts along with the specific machines, and some are ever so slightly different. So again, we sell those at cost. The big ones are $5 for $1. And so we sell you like the dome, the mylar, and the pin back. And that all comes in like a little plastic baggie, and you just figure out what images you want. Some people, we have a template on our website where you can kind of look at what size it needs to be, and you can use the punches to punch it out. If you have like a photograph for the button maker, for the big one, we recommend that you print it on regular copy paper, because this one really likes things to be on like a thinner paper. So that is our large one. And then we have our small one. So with our small button maker, it works the same way. It just rotates around instead of kind of sliding side to side. So again, you have your dome. We just pop our dome in there. And we have the two sides labeled 1. So this one's labeled 1 right here. You put your image in, and then you have just one little mylar. And I just kind of rub it around in my fingers to kind of help separate it. And then you rotate it around to 2. And I go ahead and put in my little pin back. This one's a little trickier because the pin's in the middle. So I look at where the hook is, and I make sure that that hook is pointing down, and then the little squiggle is what's facing you up top. So you squish it down, and you see how it's going all the way down on that plastic. You want to make sure, again, one big smooth motion, and so it bottoms out, so it's completely squished down. And then there you have your button. Sometimes it might cut all the way through. Sometimes if the paper is a little thin, our small button maker likes paper to be a little bit thicker. So if you're doing anything with like a nice cardstock, the small button maker is definitely your friend on that one. So we have got those. Any questions on those? I can kind of go back and show any parts of those if you want. If not, again, we can definitely show those again once you're actually able to use them. But we're hoping that by showing you what kind of equipment there are and what kind of things we offer, you could possibly start doing different designs, maybe have ideas for buttons or some other projects where you can do the design work now ahead of time. And then once we are open, you can kind of hit the ground running with whatever project you have going.
Awesome. Thank you, Carol Ann. I don't see any questions yet at the moment, so
Okay.
if everyone's good, I'm gonna...
Yeah, so now we're gonna head over to Missy and her station. She's gonna tell us more about the Cricut and how to use the design software along with how the machine works.
Absolutely. All right, so I'm gonna switch over to my screen share. Give me a moment. We'll head over to the Cricut Design Space website. I'm going to get my camera up, so instead of seeing me, you can see the Cricut in action. Caroline, I can't see my view at the moment. Is that the right angle? You're muted.
You are good.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right. So when you first log into Cricut Design Space, this is what you'll see. Now you do need to bring your library card. Your library card and your PIN number is what will give you access to that account. You get 2 hours with that account, but we can always give you more time if you're working on an important project and you're finding that you're running out of time. So we have an annual subscription that we pay for. You could technically log into your own account and still use our Cricut. So if you have Cricut Design Space and you want to work within your own account, that would absolutely work. Most people are coming to our space because they have neither the Cricut nor the account, but it would work that way if you want to just come in and log into your own. And then some people own the Cricut, but they don't quite know how to use it yet, and they like having someone nearby to ask questions to. So some people are experimenting with it for the first time, and some people are trying to get used to it so that they can run their own at home. And either way, that works for us. So there is a login and a password that we put in for you. So first you go in through your library card, which you would put in, and then you just hail a staff member to come over and put that email and password in, and you're good to go for a couple of hours. So I'm going to show you around what this account looks like. When you first log in, this is what you will see, and it starts by showing you projects you've worked on recently and then some suggested projects, and these change based on the season. If it's Christmas time, there'll be ornaments. If it's fall, there'll be cute little pumpkin cards and things like that. But we're going to head into my projects over here in the top right hand corner. And that is going to take us into things that we have made in the past. So this is everything that people have created within our Cricut Design Space account. Starting at the top left are things that are the most recent. And then if you scroll down, these are things that were made months or even a year ago. So it saves everything. And you don't have to worry about losing that. People have been very good about not deleting any of the projects or anything like that. So that's what you'll see when you first log in. I am going to, first I'm going to hit proceed anyway. It wants us to download a new software, but we're going to work in what we know for now. So I'm going to show you all the tabs over here on the left-hand side. So starting with new, we'll just work our way down and I'll show you around those. New is how you start a new project. And what you're seeing here is mimicking the mat where you put your materials. So that graph-like look is just what the mat looks like that your materials go on top of when they're put into the machine. So that's what we're seeing here. So I'm just going to go down these different tabs. Templates is next. And these are pre-designed templates for you to design around, like if you're making a t-shirt or a onesie for a baby, there's a camping chair, guitar, goblet, you name it. It's got all different templates for you to work with in here. So we're gonna choose a classic polo and I'll show you what that looks like. So once you've chosen whatever the template is you want to work with, it'll give you different options of sizes, like do you want a men's or women's polo? You can see up here, you can choose short sleeve, you can choose sizes, and then from there it creates a kind of silhouette that helps you to see what would it look like if you put this design on a polo. So there are the polo designs coming up, and then once you go to make the project, you're only working with the material itself. You won't see this shirt design anymore, but this would help you gauge what does it look like on a polo. How big does my design need to be placed perfectly in the center or up in the corner of the polo or that sort of thing. So that's what templates is. Gives you a nice silhouette to work with to give you a good visual of what would it look like once you put it on whatever it is you're going to put it on. So that's templates. Next is projects. And projects gives you an array of ideas to work with. These are pre-made and ready to go. So you can work from the ground up making your own thing. If you want to make a card or you want to make a t-shirt design or you have a business logo that you want to put on a shirt, there are ways to do all of that. But if you're just looking to experiment and try something out, it's kind of nice to start with these ready to go projects. So using the search bar up here on the right, you can type in any kind of projects. There's earrings, there's patterns for baby clothes, there's hats, there's pillows. So you would just put in the search bar whatever it is you're wanting to make, and then from there you can select a project. So as you see here, there's a little green symbol on each of these. It's an A for access. And that means that it is part of our subscription. So when you see that symbol, you're good to go. If you don't see that symbol, let me go a little farther down and see if we can find, there's one that doesn't have it. Where you don't see that symbol, that means there's going to be a cost to that item. And there's no good way for us to charge you and then it to charge our account. So we just avoid the ones that aren't free or are part of the Cricut Design Space access already. But there are a ton to choose from. There's just a whole host of really awesome patterns. So you're going to find a lot to work with no matter what it is that you're looking at. So we will explore some of those projects a little more later because I want to actually walk you through a project. But for now, we're going to keep moving on down these tabs and buttons, and we're going to click on images next. So images, let's say you are making a card and it's fall and you want to put a pumpkin on this card. Images is where you would go to find that pumpkin picture. So I'm going to type in pumpkin and see what we get. Again, with what comes up, you want to stick with that green symbol because that means it's part of our subscription. Anything that's not, doesn't have that symbol, and gosh, there's so many you can say. Most of them have the symbol, so you're gonna be just fine. But you do want to make sure you don't fall in love with something that's not part of that. So from there, you would click on the pumpkin that you want. We'll do this one, and you just click Insert Image, and now it's going to add it into your project. So you could take this pumpkin and put it on a polo if you wanted to do that. You can also take and make different pieces go away, like if you don't want all these layers of color, because when you go to make this, if you want that orange and you want that green and you want that white, you have to put all those different pieces in to make it all those colors. So I'm going to make some of those go away, and let's say we just want a silhouette of a pumpkin, we can make that happen, and now we would just have to cut out one piece. So there you have it. I'm going to start a new project just so we don't have to keep seeing that polo in the way. And I'm going to hit replace. It's saying, do you want to save what you're working on? And I'm not actually married to my pumpkin polo, so I am going to click replace, and we've got a fresh new project here. All right, so next we're moving on to text. And here you can put whatever you want, like on a birthday card or on a t-shirt. I'm going to do a happy birthday. We'll do a happy birthday text. So we enter that. And then from here, we can change the font. We can change the size, the alignment. There's all different things you can do with this. So the fonts up here in the left-hand corner, you want to make sure, again, you're working with that access symbol, that green symbol. You want to choose a font that has that. Otherwise, it's going to try to charge you money, and it won't let you go any farther. So again, you see there's lots of these to choose from. You just click on the one that you like. And so from here, you could put this on whatever it is you desire to put it onto. You can change the size of it. You can curve it if you want. There's all different fun things you can do with text. So that's how you would get text onto an item that you're making. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Oh, and I should probably show you guys up here in the right-hand corner. You want to save whatever it is you're working on. Give it a name. I'm not going to make it public. You could if you wanted to leave it that way. And I'm going to click Save. And that way, when you leave the account and come back to it a few days later, it should just be in there with my projects. When we first opened up the account and you saw all those projects we were working on, this one will now be at the top of those because it was our most recent project. So that's how you would save it to come back to it later. And that's important if you plan on doing anything else with it ever again. Shapes is our next button down. Let's take a look at that. And from here, we just have different basic shapes to work with. But these can come in handy if you want to make your own project. I did a cute little pumpkin card once. Wish I had a picture of that. And we just used the circles and copied those several times over and cut those out, and we made a pumpkin out of the circle. You can also duplicate over here on the right. So you can have multiple circles of the same size. And if you want to delete anything, you just hit the X. Make that shape go away if you don't need it. I'm going to duplicate a couple of these hearts so you can see how to weld those together. So from here, if you're making something homemade and not working in that My Projects that has all those different examples for you that are ready to go, you can manipulate your own shapes to do what you want to with those. So you could take a bunch of hearts, whoops, not the star, move them around. Get rid of these others. Okay, so let's say we were trying to make a flower out of this heart. You get the idea. We're kind of making petals out of the heart. Now when we go to make it, it's going to recognize all these different hearts as not one single shape. Like the way we're looking at it now, it's not going to see a flower. It's going to see 4 separate hearts. So I'm going to cancel that. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to fix it. So what we do is we're going to drag over those 4 hearts. Is it attach or weld, Carol Ann? It's weld, isn't it? Okay. We're going to weld them together, and now whatever we have welded together, it will recognize that as one shape. So we could spend hours just on this concept, how you manipulate and move things around in this account. And there you see it's recognizing it as one shape now instead of 4 separate parts. We have a whole class on this. We have a Cricut Design Space 101, and then we have a Beyond the Basics class. So those are something that we can still do virtually. Like we were talking about sharing resources with you. What are Makerspace resources you can still do from home? We've still got these kits. We've still got these online classes. These are the types of things that we can still do this summer and in the months to come. So there's lots of little tricks that we can show you that are Makerspace based that we can share with you still. So that's shapes and different ways to manipulate the shapes. And then the last feature I want to show you is upload. So from here, you can upload your own image from your computer. So these are the different types of file it takes: PNG, JPEG, GIF, SVG. There's tons of different options. So if you brought in your own thumb drive, or you were pulling something from your email account, you would be able to put it in here. So this would be really helpful for a business logo. We've done Cuyahoga Falls library bags with our logo before. If you have a company logo or just a cute picture that you want to make into a sticker or an iron-on or something, you can do a face. Caroline did a whole class about how to take a picture and put it on a t-shirt or bag. So you could take your, you could take your grandchild's face and turn it into a sticker. I'm gonna see if I'm gonna do view all, because I think that's in here somewhere. So she did a whole class about how to turn, there I am. How to turn your face into a sticker, and it was really cool. So for Valentine's Day, I made some gag gifts for my husband, and I put my face on a mug and a t-shirt and a notebook and the whole 9 yards. It was great fun. So there's so much you can do with this account, from making your own projects, from taking your own ideas and turning them into an item, to all these different projects they have within the Cricut account. there's so many options. So I'm going to show you one more thing, and then we'll open it up for questions. I want to actually show you a project in action today. So we are going to make a pair of earrings. Here we go. We're going to choose these earrings here. And I'm going to hop over to where I have this open because it can take a little while. So I took these 3 pairs of earrings and I pared it down to just 2 using these little symbols over here. The little eye shape, if you click on that, it'll make designs disappear. So we had 3 pairs of earrings and I just wanted 2. So I clicked on that and I made the other pieces go away. Now we just have the 2 to work with. And then from here, I'm going to click on Make It. All right. So Carolyn, you can still see the Cricut from the document camera, correct?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. We'll have them both running at the same time then. And then once you have it all lined up and in the machine, so the mat, you take whatever material it is you're using. For earrings, I would do like a leather or faux leather, but for today's purposes, I just have cardstock, so I'm not wasting material. And you put it on the sticky mat and you insert the mat in between the 2 tabs on the side. You want it to go underneath and in between those. And then there's a button that helps you like insert the material. So once you have that all loaded up, you just press continue and it's going to push your design to the left to conserve your materials. So you still have all of that paper left to work with once these earrings are made. So you could get a good, 8 to 10 pairs of earrings out of one piece of leather that you put on the mat. You could really bust out those Christmas gifts. It's pretty handy. There's some great gift ideas in that Cricut Design Space account too. All right, so from here it tells you what tools you need. It's telling us that we need a pin on the left and a blade on the right. There's different kinds of blades, so it specifically tells you need a fine point or a deep cut, and it tells you even what side to put it on, which is really handy. So it says in clamp A, put a pin, in clamp B, put a blade, and those clamps just open up and you can switch those out for whatever different materials. And then it tells you to press go. So it really walks you through both with visuals and on the machine, the button's blinking that it wants you to push. So I'm gonna go ahead and push go and we're going to make our little earrings here. So as it's going, it's telling you how far along you are in the drawing. And once it's done drawing, it's gonna cut it and it will tell you how far along you are in the cutting process. So while that's going, I'm going to show you a couple of other things. These are the earrings that we're making right now, kind of in real life. So we put that on some faux leather, got a couple of jump rings and a hook, and we made a set of earrings. It probably takes 10 minutes altogether, so it really does make great, easy gifts. Here's a wallet that we did out of faux leather. So this was a class that we offered last summer at the library. Here's another set of earrings and a bracelet that we did. We've offered different classes before where we will supply all the materials and then everybody comes into the makerspace and makes whatever the project is together. We are offering at least one of these classes this summer. We're going to do a design for a water bottle. So we're going to take vinyl and cut out a pattern and then you put the pattern on your water bottle. So it's just a cutesy little way to dress up a water bottle. So we're still offering that. I will be sharing virtually how we do that in the Cricut, and I will show an example of how that's cut out, and then everybody will get to take a little one of those home from the library. We've been preparing some kits that people can pick up at different times throughout the summer. So we're still offering these kinds of courses over the summer. Whatever we were able to convert to a virtual format, we've been working very hard on that the last few weeks and months. So there will still be classes like this that we're offering and trying out this summer. So while that's running, I want to make sure to let it finish so you can see from start to finish. Does anybody have any questions about the space, the tools we've showed you today, anything along those lines?
Oh, it shifts around everything. So we had some discussion, and I think you should be able to see that, Missy.
Yeah, the WACOM tablet or photo
Mm-hmm.
equipment. So we don't have it available for checkout, but you know, we may start thinking that way. We're trying to look at what can we get out to the public. Some of the kits that we're doing, they're usually just a take and make it. You take it with you, you don't bring anything back. The loom kits we're actually checking out to people because we need the looms back. We're borrowing those from an organization. So there may be some sharing that we can do in the future. Currently, the Wacom was meant to be used in the Makerspace, but it could be possible that, you know, in the near future, we can make some of those items more available since we don't have our space open right now. We'll have to look into that.
Yeah, and that is one of those things where if you're going to use it on your own equipment, then you would have to worry about installing the drivers and making sure those are working in order for the device to function. So there is a little kind of setup involved for some of those.
That's right. I didn't think about that. The stuff that we have just laid out and ready to go with those devices.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's a little bit that, like, if you're willing to go through the different setup pieces, then that could work. It can be. It sometimes there's been some version issues even with Mac. So, but I'm trying to think if there were any other things. So far, that was the only major question we had.
Oh, and while we're waiting for these earrings to cut, I am offering a class next Friday. I believe it's at 6 p.m. Sorry, time is fuzzy to me now, as it is to many others, I'm sure. But we're going to be sharing how to make beads out of the pages of books. And I'll be sending out a video on Friday to show how to do that. So it's repurposing old books and how to make crafts out of them, which some people find sacrilegious, which I totally understand, and some people think that's really cool and love the idea of making stuff out of books. So I'll be sharing that next week, and we just have a lot of cool little things like that coming up where you can still watch this from home, you can still try it from home. We're trying to use materials that people might have around already, so that's coming down the pike next week. It's up on Facebook as one of our events right now. Gonna give us another minute. It's at 80%, so it'll be done shortly. And we are wrapping up our webinar. We were supposed to be done by 6, and we're looking good on time. So
yeah,
make sure to leave it open for any other questions that might come along, but we are coming to a close here. Oh, and I should probably share.
And I was able to put out the link for our form. So if you want to fill out our really quick survey, and it's all for information for being able to apply for the grant and whatnot. So that is there. And there's also a section to add like these really awesome ideas, like how to do a class on making masks. Like if that is something where you want to see kind of our version of it, definitely. There's also some resources where there's a ton of people online doing it. So yeah, if there's anything that you really want to kind of see our take on things, that is definitely a good thing we can do.
We are doing mask extenders too. We're doing 3D printed mask extenders. I don't know if you've seen those, but it pulls the elastic away from your ears so there's not so much pressure on your ears. And we do have a class for that in either June or July. I don't remember which one. But yeah, it's a good idea. Especially those practical items.
Yeah, we definitely get a lot of our best ideas for different classes and resources from our patrons. So we definitely are all ears and try and put as much into action as possible.
For sure. All right, so when you're done, paper just peels off, or faux leather, or whatever it is you're working with, and you're left with your earrings. You just pull off. And we have different tools. We've got like a spatula guy here. This is really helpful for getting off teeny tiny parts from that sticky paper so you don't tear anything. sticky mat, I'm sorry. We've got different color pens that you can put in. We did black today, but we've got red, green, yellow. There's like silver and gold metallic-y looking pens. This is a scoring tool which shows you where to fold your paper. So if you make like a card from cardstock or boxes, there's all sorts of cute little gift boxes you can make. This would be the tool that goes in and creates a crease so you know where to fold it. So we've got all different materials. We supply all of that. You would just supply whatever it is you're cutting on the mat. But we've got the mat, the subscription, pens, blades, all that good stuff. I'm not sure what you mean by copy stand.
So yeah, that was another question that was posed. Oh, the tripods. I think that actually came as a part of the photo box kit, didn't it?
Yeah. When we bought the photo box on Amazon, it came with those.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
think
so
a couple of them.
yeah, it came with 2 different styles of tripod for phones. It came with clear display stands, the lights, the filters, the background covers, and the light kind of frame that it all attaches to. So that was all kind of as one big kit.
Yes, and that was all found on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions we can answer? We are ending this right on time today. I'm excited about that. So I really do appreciate you guys for being here and trying this out with us. I know it's different, and we do wish we were in the space with you. It is cool to be able to try this stuff hands-on, but this is the next best thing, and I appreciate you guys giving it a go with us. So thank you. And we do hope to all be back in the building soon and back to some form of normalcy. So I hope you guys are well and healthy. Any other questions before we close it out for the night? All right, well, like Carolyn mentioned, if you could fill out the survey, that would be really helpful for us. It really does help to give that feedback to the state library so we can keep her coming back and helping us offer these awesome classes. She's been really helpful in helping us set up like all these virtual classes and document cameras and how do we use Zoom and testing all that out. So the more feedback we can have, the better. So thank you all for coming.